patients will lose out 100% if it's considered a psychiatric diagnosis. So to me, the urgency is to get it out of the psychiatric, and then we can parse and discern later on about the relationships and differences between CFS and ME.
Where is it currently in the ICD?
Under neurology.
In 9, it's under neurology.
So should it at least be retained there until things can be sorted?
Whatever's the most expedient way to
Okay.
keep it from getting reclassified into psychiatric.
We're just asking if they don't move it anywhere
Right.
else at the
Okay.
moment.
They're shoving it out into the...
And Lenny's point's well taken, and I think that'll be something for us to discuss at a future date, but we probably need to deal with the immediate problem first, and then...
The ICD-10 people here about a year or so ago, if you might recall, we had them here. And I actually was surprised to see that after that involvement that it still moved into psychiatry.
Do you have
Because I
that
thought
motion?
they agreed not to.
So,
We got that down.
do you mind if I can maybe just have a couple minutes to talk about this issue? Because I didn't really want to get into it, but basically the U.S. clinical modification of ICD-10 is in draft stage, set to be implemented in 2013. The ICD-10 classifies ME and CFS separately. ME is under other disorders of the brain. That's G93.3 under post-viral fatigue syndrome. Under that is benign myalgic encephalomyelitis. That excludes chronic fatigue syndrome, NOS. Okay? CFS is under general symptoms and signs. That's R53.82, chronic fatigue syndrome, NOS. That's basically not otherwise specified. That excludes post-viral fatigue syndrome, which is G93.3. So the major changes from ICD-9 are inclusion of NOS in the CFS classification, the inclusion of benign ME, previously unspecified cause of encephalitis, myelitis, and encephalomyelitis, and inclusion of post-viral fatigue syndrome, PVFS.
Where'd they put it?
So, where should CFS be coded? That's the question. That's what you're all asking. There are many ME advocacy groups that don't want CFS as G93.3. Many also want benign and PVFS dropped from G93.3. According to the World Health Organization, a disease cannot be classified twice in a country's clinical manifestation of ICD-10. CFS is not coded in the non-US ICD-10, so it can be placed either at R53.82 or with ME at G93.3.
So where is it classified as a psychiatric
Disorder.
Well, I mean, I think what people are concerned about is the chronic fatigue syndrome.
That wasn't under psychiatric disorders under your explanation.
Basically, that's under
DSM and
general,
ICD?
basically under general symptoms and signs.
It sounds like it's the U.S. modification of the ICD that is putting CFS in the psychiatric category, because in the international, it's not anywhere. It's not really encompassed even in 93.3. Is that what I understood? So just for the U.S., it would be a psychiatric condition.
So we have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Any further discussion?
I'd like to know for sure that that's an accurate statement, that it's for the U.S., that I don't think we have any documentation to say that's an accurate statement. If we're going to make an action on something, we better find out if we're right.
I guess the reason, well, in any event, I think some of this could be continued. I mean, I just sort of suggesting...
There's time, is what you're saying.
It-
There's time till the next meeting
Yes.
before
And,
we
and,
act.
and this is a little bit complicated, and I think if we want to make a recommendation, I mean, certainly we can make this one. I think we might make some other targeted ones, too, along these lines. There's certainly, it's an important issue. It's something we should comment on.
I'm trying to remember where I got this information, but I thought that it was going to be finalized this summer and there would be no way to act after this summer. even though it's going to take place a year forward, that the process is almost over.
I think that the earlier we make a recommendation, the better. So I wouldn't disagree with you.
Well, can we say that we would object to any reclassification that would put it under psychiatric, comma, rather? So the same exact recommendation that the committee would object to a psychiatric classification. I mean, that doesn't put us in any risk of saying something that's incorrect, that's based on incorrect assumptions.
It covers the eventuality that we don't want to happen.
Whose motion is that?
So that's a friendly amendment to my own amendment, to my own motion.
I'll second
I
the
motioned it.
Okay.
friendly amendment.
Any further discussion? All those in favour? So moved.
So do you want to reread that one, Nancy?
Thanks, it's in
Or
my
restate
head.
it?
That was short, the second.
Is it, if CFSAC rejects or strongly rejects the proposal, vehemently, whatever, to classify CFS as a psychiatric condition in the ICD-10?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rather than it's a multi-system disorder.
Okay.